Welcome all sports fans, YouTubers, Facebookers, all social media across the nation. Uneducated Network on YouTube presents Uneducated Sports Talk. I'm your host, Clayton. Before I get into my show, if you haven't, please like, subscribe, comment, share everything to Uneducated Network on YouTube to where you can see my show, Uneducated Sports Talk, and many other shows on our channel. We are more than just a YouTube channel. We are a way of life. This is Uneducated Network, and this is Uneducated Sports Talk. So, that being said, the 2017-18 NFL regular season is over with, so with that comes awards come as well. The playoffs will start this weekend. We're all ready for that. But let's give out credit where credit is due, right? So I want to start off with giving out my 2017-18 NFL season awards ceremony, brought to you by Uneducated Sports Talk. So that being said, we're going to start from kind of like the lower ones to the higher ones. So let's go ahead with the coach of the year. And let's be honest, all these coaches are coming from the NFC. When the season started, you didn't know what the balance was. By the time it ended, it was clear by a long shot that the NFC is so much better than the AFC this year. Outside of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots, everybody else is pretty much mediocre. Maybe Kansas City is okay. Jacksonville, we'll find out. But out of the wild card spots, we had the Los Angeles Chargers, you had the Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, and the Tennessee Titans. Out of those four teams, only two had to make it to the wild card round, and two did, the Bills and the Titans. And those two teams are probably as bad, or probably worse than the teams that didn't make it, which the Chargers and the Ravens. I think those two teams, you put those guys in the wild card, then the AFC might be a little bit more dramatic. But now you put the Bills and the Titans, and the AFC is looking really garbage right now. So that being said, the coaches of the year are going to come from the NFC. It's no doubt about it. Here are my candidates. Sean McVay, the coach of the Los Angeles Rams, who did a hell of a job, 11-5. Last year, this team was pitiful under Jeff Fisher. And how dare you, Jeff Fisher, talk about you were the cornerstone, you helped mold this team. That is a bunch of BS, a bunch of crap. Jeff Fisher, you and your coach staff suck. Yeah, I'm not a Jeff Fisher fan at all. I'm not. You know, they suck. So I'm glad they got rid of him. Sean McVay's done an excellent job turning this team around from, I believe, a 2-15 season to an 11-5, going to the playoffs. They're the number 3 seed, having a wild card home game. This team is electric. They're dynamite on offense. Sean McVay brought energy to this young team, which was much needed. They didn't really change much. Same quarterback, same running back. Oh yeah, by the way, Todd Gurley did not have a good year last year under Jeff Fisher. So you see what kind of thing he's going through right now, what kind of transformation he's going through as well. So I think this young man has come in here and taken control of this team. He's put his standpoint on this team. They're fun to watch. And when you see them in this playoff game, this will be their first time with maximum exposure. You know, you're going to see how great this offense really is and how it can function, how good it is. So, also, Mike Zimmer, we have him, the coach for the Minnesota Vikings, going 13-3. And this team, defensively, we knew was going to be good. If not great, but for sure good. But then he brought in, you know, you have Case Keenum come in after Sam Bradford gets injured again. What's new, right? Case Keenum comes in and he takes over. And the beat keeps on going. And Case Keenum, who's been this guy who's been on 4 or 5 different teams in his NFL career, or maybe 3 teams and just a couple pit stops back and forth to the same team. But he's looked like he's a like an MVP candidate kind of thing. So he has led this team. This team isn't really that great on paper. You see their staff. You see what they got on offense. It's not much. It ain't much at all. And you have Dalvin Cook, who was going to be a star running back. He gets hurt early in the year, too. So they have to kind of work that in. And they got a Tavis Murray who came in and spent time with Jerry McKinnon as well. So those guys complement each other pretty well. So a lot of good things happen for Minnesota. And Mike Zimmer is the reason why he helped that team. Also, we have Sean Payton. With the Saints going 11-5, this team has been mediocre the last 3 years. 7-9 for 3 straight years in a row. But Sean Payton, for some reason, they drafted well. The reason why they're in this conversation is because they drafted the last 2 years. And prior to that, they have been horrible at drafting. Let's just be real. But the last 2 years, Sean Payton and the staff have been very good. And the GM, Mickey Loomis, yes, I'm even giving him credit for once. They actually did good with the draft process last year, but especially this year. And a lot of their young guys are key contributors to this team, and that right there alone can have Sean Payton, be the coach of the year, or at least a candidate in my opinion. And also, last but not least, you got to put Doug Peterson in. They went 13-3. And if Carson Wentz doesn't get hurt, they probably go 15-1, maybe 14-2, maybe just sitting out because they got to sit out. But Carson Wentz was the guy that had this thing rolled. But Doug Peterson, you got to put him in because at basically the whole entire year, Philadelphia was looking like the best team in the league. You got to put that in there. I think Doug Peterson as well. So coach of the year, and look, Bill Belichick, who I believe is the best coach in the game right now. He's always going to be mentioned as well. Consistently, they go 13-3 this year, but consistently they're always there. You're talking almost 15-some years straight of being contenders or in the playoffs or just the favorites to win it all. So of course he's in the canon as well. So who do I have as coach of the year? Drum roll. Uneducated Sports Talk. Coach of the year belongs to. I got Mike Zimmer for the Minnesota Vikings. Yes, 13-3, but look at the team that he's playing with. This team they don't have any great players. You could talk maybe defense besides Xavier Rhodes, who's a really good cornerback, but is he great? I wouldn't call him great. Not an absolute shutdown cornerback, but can, do very positive things on defense. But outside of him, this team really doesn't have anyone explosive. If Adam Thielen, and there's nothing against Adam Thielen, he had a hell of a year. But if he's your best wide receiver, you're not doing a lot on offense. It's showing the scheme and what's going on. Mike Zimmer did a great job with this team, a hell of a job. He is my coach of the year. The rest of these coach candidates, they did well as well. But the NFC was balling with good teams galore. When your wild card is 10-6 and 11-5, that tells you how tough the NFC really is. So coach of the year for us, Uneducated Sports Talk Coach of the Year is Mike Zimmer. Let's go on to our rookies now. Let's start with the defensive rookies of the year. Our candidates are Tre'Davious White. We got Marshawn Lattimore. Tre'Davious White of the Buffalo Bills. Marshawn Lattimore of the New Orleans Saints. Jamal Adams. I don't know why I put Charles. Jamal Adams of the New York Jets. And then we have Myles Garrett of the Cleveland Browns. Now, Myles Garrett is in here because he's probably the only lineman worth mentioning to be part of this. And for what he did and for what he missed a lot of games, but what he did and contributed on the field, he had a hell of a season. He was, in my opinion, worth the #1 overall pick. You can kind of build off of that. Next year he'll be healthy going into it, but he had a hell of a season, in my opinion, and one of the few bright spots for the Cleveland Browns 0-16 season. So he's a candidate for me as well. Tre'Davious White, who's basically the rookie of the year defensively wise the first probably 5 or 6 weeks of the season. He just looked like he was a shutdown cornerback, even maybe the first half of the season, to be honest. But then Marshawn Lattimore came through, and he is a shutdown cornerback already. And it's funny because Jamal Adams has been there the whole entire year. He's a stud on defense as well. The numbers don't show a bit, but he plays in the box a lot, and he is great. If you haven't seen my Rookie of the Year talk, just go to Uneducated Sports Talk or Uneducated Network. Check out my show about the Rookie Talk about offense and defensive rookies, man, because this was a great class this year, in my opinion. But Tre'Davious White had a hell of a year as well. And Jamal Adams, but Myles Garrett to the cake as well. Now, it's very tough because if you want to go with, there's two, in my opinion, Tre'Davious White, longevity, never missed a game, 16 games, never really missed a snap. He played almost 99% of the defensive snaps, so he didn't miss plays. And if you go with Marshawn Lattimore, who's missed basically 4 games, 3 full ones, and he only played a few snaps in the 4th one, so he only played 12 games. So you take that into consideration as well. But I'm going with 2 reasons. One, who was more valuable to the better team? That's what I'm going with. And in this case, Marshawn Lattimore was more valuable to the Saints' success than Tre'Davious White was to the Buffalo Bills' success. So, Rookie of the Year of defense, Uneducated Sports Talk. Defense Rookie of the Year belongs to, you guys already know it, Marshawn Lattimore of the New Orleans Saints. Call me biased all you want, but I call it how I see it, man. This guy is incredible. The butt fumble. Who doesn't like a good butt fumble, right? Who doesn't like a good butt interception, right? So anything that has ass in it, we are with it. So the butt interception was wonderful. That was the icing on the cake for the man. He's basically outside of maybe the last week of the season, which he still played a great game. Just Mike Evans is a really good receiver. He has pretty much been in people's faces, and the Saints have put so much pressure on his success for the team, on a young guy. So, hey, I got Marshall Lattimore as your Defensive Rookie of the Year. Let's go with the Offensive Rookie of the Year candidates, man. Like I said, if you hadn't seen my show, check it out about the offensive rookies, about our offensive draft class this year, or the defensive rookies as well. We had to talk about that. So let's go with the Offensive Rookie of the Year candidates. We had Kareem Hunt for Kansas City Chiefs. I'm putting in Juju Smith-Schuster for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He has come on as of late. I got Alvin Kamara as well for New Orleans Saints. And Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey is kind of like, 1A, 1B. So I got those 5 guys in there. In the beginning, it was Kareem Hunt. Then it was Deshaun Watson. Watson got hurt. Then it was Leonard Fournette. But Fournette's getting hurt. And now it all comes down to one guy who's had this incredible season. Alvin Kamara's kind of taking the cake now as well. Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey's pretty much played every single game and has been very good, but his the production that you want from a Rookie of the Year did not go that way. So, Kareem Hunt and Alvin Kamara is pretty much the 2 guys that you're going to look at. Juju Smith, although played very well the last half of the season, he didn't really produce as much that you would want from a Rookie of the Year standpoint. And it's kind of tough for Rookie of the Years when you're a wide receiver. You don't get the ball as much as they look at the running back. So pretty much the 2 obvious candidates for Uneducated Sports Talk will be Kareem Hunt and Alvin Kamara. And drum roll, please. And Uneducated Sports Talk Offensive Rookie of the Year belongs to Alvin Kamara, running back of the New Orleans Saints. Look, this is probably the first time. I could be wrong. I have no idea. I'm lazy. I don't check the stats. But this could be the first time one team had in one year has had both the offensive and defensive Rookie of the Years on the same team. I can't think of one since I've been alive. I know that. But, man, this is a special draft class. I think Marshall Lattimore on the defensive side for the Saints is the Rookie of the Year. And I think Alvin Kamara on the offensive side is Rookie of the Year. And if Alvin wasn't Rookie of the Year in Week 16, he for sure is now for Week 17 of those. That 106-yard kickoff return and a rushing touchdown over 100 yards from scrimmage. Alvin Kamara is a freaking beast, man. Alvin Kamara is obviously, and the sad part is he's got all this miraculous numbers, and he's only played about a good, let's be honest, when Adrian Peterson was there the first 4 games, Kamara wasn't really getting touches like he is now. Can you just imagine the touches he would have got the first 4 games of the year? And let's not forget, he got concussed in the Atlanta game, so he's only played about 11 full games. And he's got all this yardage from scrimmage in 11 games. That tells you, and his contribution to the Saints team that has been very good this year has been, it's been big. So that is why he is the Rookie of the Year, in my opinion, from Uneducated Sports Talk. So let's go with our Defensive Player of the Year nominees. First on the list, we got Jalen Ramsey for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pure D shutdown cornerback. I saw Marshall Lattimore. Well, good God, Jalen Ramsey is a few notches above Marshall Lattimore. That's how good this guy is, in my opinion. Chandler Jones, 17 sacks for the Arizona Cardinals. That is a great stat as well. DeMarcus Lawrence, 14.5 sacks for the Dallas Cowboys. And you got Calais Campbell, 14.5 sacks as a defensive tackle. And his counterpart, I don't even know his name. Oh man. Markway Nukwe for the Jacksonville Jaguar DN. He had 12 sacks as well, so you can't really credit his work as well. But so we got 2 Jaguars in there. That shows you how good that Jaguar defense was this year. I mean, they're getting sacks like crazy and points off defense like crazy. But with that being said, there could only be one winner for the Defensive Player of the Year. So I got Jalen Ramsey, Chandler Jones, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Calais Campbell. And drum roll, please. So, Uneducated Sports Talk Defensive Player of the Year award goes to Jalen Ramsey, cornerback of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When I say this guy is the best cornerback in the game, he is the best cornerback in the game. I mean, I've never seen a guy, he's big, He's fast, he's strong, he's physical. And yes, one thing is he didn't really play against a lot of elite wide receivers this year because the AFC is not that many elite wide receivers out there. They're more on the NFC side, or well, there's a few on the AFC. I can't give that much bad credit to the AFC. I mean, you got AJ Green, you got Antonio Brown, but when he did play Antonio Brown didn't get anything. I can tell you that from Jump Street. So Jalen Ramsey is a perfectionist at cornerback, and I think cornerback is the hardest position as it is already to play. Just because you got guys running at 4.4, 4.3, 4.2 speeds coming at you and moving, and you got to follow that. Yeah, I played cornerback just like in the streets one time against this dude that was going to a college, and he was a wide receiver, and I'm going backwards, and he did like a little move, and he was gone. I was like, oh my God, I could never ever play cornerback a day in my life. I understand how hard it is. I will never discredit cornerbacks. One, you got to have that mentality that you're the best. Jalen Ramsey embodies that. He gave it like one touchdown to DeAndre Hopkins, who was arguably the best receiver in the game. And he was so pissed off about giving up that touchdown. He didn't want to talk to anybody. He was like, leave me alone. No, that's called a perfectionist, because as a cornerback, you're going to give up touchdowns. It's just the nature of the game. It's how the game is being played. But he gave that one touchdown to might be the best receiver in the game, and he was PO'd, and you couldn't tell him nothing. I like that spirit from him. I like what that embodied about Jalen Ramsey. He's perfectionist at cornerback. He is, in my opinion, the defensive player of the year because no one can touch him. He is the best defensive player on the best defense this year, which is the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. And let's go with our offensive player of the year. Drum roll, ladies and gentlemen. No, I'm not doing that yet. I'll give you my candidates first. I almost messed that up. Tom Brady for the New England Patriots. We also have Le'Veon Bell for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ty Gurley for the Los Angeles Rams, Carson Wentz of the Philadelphia Eagles, and then we have Antonio Brown for the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. You always know that Brown and Le'Veon are always going to be in that kind of category because so much offense goes around just those two guys being either handed off to Le'Veon or thrown to, and then thrown to Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown is pretty much the best wide receiver in the game. But this was a great year for, this is a great list because all five of these guys that I mentioned have the potential to win the offensive player of the year. Tom Brady, consistency. I mean, he led the league in passing this year, even though quarterbacks as a whole this year are pretty down. I mean, it's been a long time since someone has led the league in passing, throwing 4,500 yards, That's what Tom Brady did this year. We're usually seeing a guy close to 5,000. Even Matt Ryan last year, who won it all, was 16 yards away from 5,000 yards passing. So we'll see about this year. But Ty Gurley's had an amazing year, and Carson Wentz before his injury is looking like the best guy, and then Antonio Brown as well. Before his injury, it was just looking like he was going to be unstoppable as well. So let's go with the offensive player of the year. Drum roll, ladies and gentlemen. Uneducated Sports Talk offensive player of the year belongs to Ty Gurley of the Los Angeles Rams. That's right, I said it, Ty Gurley. Over 2,000 yards of total offense, running and receiving. And let's just be honest, he ended the season on a hot note. It was hot, especially those last two games where he just dominated the stats from left to right. It was crazy. Ty Gurley is looking like a beast. He's about as physical as a running back we have right now, and he's about as fast with that physicality. So he's basically the perfect ideal running back in my opinion. Oh, by the way, he can catch too. So he's damn good at that part as well. And his rack yards are amazing at run after catch. And his rack yards are just tremendous. So this guy, I believe, is the offensive player of the year because no one can stop him when he has a full head of steam. And the way that this Rams offense plays, man, just feed Gurley the ball, whether running or receiving, and he's going to make plays happen. Sean McVay has done a wonderful job of deceiving, and particularly a wonderful job of getting Ty Gurley involved because last year that sophomore slump could have hurt him. But Sean McVay, he brought light into Ty Gurley's mojo, and now he's a beast once again from his rookie year, but now even better because of the way he's getting involved both running and receiving as well. So Ty Gurley is my offensive player of the year. What a hell of a season he's had. So let's get down to what everybody wants to really know, the MVP, before we wrap it all up. Thank you guys. If you haven't known, I put it out on Twitter and Facebook. I will have a 3-part episode about the good, the bad, and the downright ugly sports moments of 2017. So, Happy New Year's. This is 2018, but if you haven't checked it out, I will have my 3-part coming up. My next 3 shows will be the good, the bad, and the just downright ugly moments of 2017. Start off with the good, then next the bad, then the downright ugly to finish it all off. So with that being said, let's go to the MVP, ladies and gentlemen. Our candidates. I only have 4 candidates, man. Here we go. Ty Gurley, Tom Brady, Carson Wentz, and Alvin Kamara. Yes, I'm being biased. Alvin Kamara. I put him in. He should be in some consideration of MVP. I just threw him in there just because that's my guy. He's not going to win it, and I'm not even choosing him. So there's really only 3 in my opinion: Ty Gurley, Carson Wentz, and Tom Brady. Carson Wentz was going to win the MVP before his injury. There hasn't been that many cases where a guy has missed 3 games or more and has won the MVP. Then you got Tom Brady, who has basically been, solid all year, but in the last 6-7 weeks, he's pretty good. I'm not going to say poor, but he just hasn't played a really great game. Yes, he had an awesome, I think, week 2 and week 3 of this season, which is just master numbers against the Saints and against somebody else, I believe, I forgot. And he put up mad numbers back-to-back weeks. But besides those, he hasn't had that one breakout game the last 7-8 games, so he's been kind of quiet. Now, this has been a season where quarterbacks hasn't really ruled anything. And then Ty Gurley, like I said, we talked about him before. He has just been balling, man, up and down. So it's really going to come to Ty Gurley, Carson Wentz, and Tom Brady. I threw Alvin Kamara in there just because he has done so much for that Saints team in just 11 games. But I'm not going to put him in just because of the 11 games. I guarantee you, if Alvin Kamara played a full 16-game season and was basically getting the getting what he's getting, he could have had over 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving, and then that's for sure consideration for MVP right there. But we're just gonna base that off of off his what if, and we don't want that as your MVP or what if kind of guy. So Alvin Kamara is not the MVP, but let's go with either Ty Gurley, Carson Wentz, or Tom Brady. Drum roll, please, ladies and gentlemen. And Uneducated Sports Talk Most Valuable Player Award goes to Carson Wentz of the Philadelphia Eagles, the quarterback. Yes, he missed the last 3 games. He got hurt, tore the ACL. I don't care. Before that, he was the MVP. He only missed 3 games of the last. I understand it wasn't the last 3, but Tom Brady didn't do enough to surpass Carson Wentz in those 3 games absence. He was 190 yards and 2 touchdowns the last game against the Jets. Now, if you'd have put up 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, yeah, he's the offensive MVP. But I think Carson Wentz still wins the MVP regardless. He was my MVP basically after Deshaun Watson got hurt, to be honest. Once Deshaun Watson got hurt, MVP went straight to Carson Wentz, in my opinion. And he was the reason why Philadelphia, before his injury, was the best team in the NFL. They could have easily went 15-1, 14-2 because they're chilling kind of scenario. But Carson Wentz being gone, I'm not going to hold that against him. Yes, he got hurt and tore his ACL and out for the season, but he missed just 3 games. It wasn't like he missed 7 games or 6 games. He missed 3 games. One that we could have said he would have missed because of, they ready to wrap things up so early. So I'm not holding that against him. Carson Wentz is still my MVP of this year because of what he brought to you in those 13 games he had. He was a beast. He was a baller. It's not going anywhere. So Carson Wentz, I hope they still give it some. But if not, guess what? Uneducated Sports Side, we got your Carson Wentz. So he is our MVP for the NFL 2017-18 season. I hope you guys enjoyed this, man. Like I said, check out my next couple episodes, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly sports moment for 2017. I'm your host, Carlos Clayton. This is Uneducated Network presenting Uneducated Sports Talk. With that being said, see you guys on my next episode. You know what time it is, sports fans. Stay smart, stay uneducated. Peace.